My name's Leslie Peterson, and I help bloggers turn their modest websites into thriving online enterprises with SEO, email marketing, and a little hard love encouragement to always move forward consistently and with a plan. Hey bloggers, today I want to talk to you again about email marketing. And we're going to talk about how to steal some email marketing hacks from the world of e-commerce. I'm hoping that my previous episodes, any interaction you've had with me in our membership group or in our free Facebook group have encouraged you, inspired you, hit you over the head with a hammer to get busy working on your email list. I love talking about SEO. I could talk about SEO until the cows come home, but it's not nearly as important as getting your email list together and communicating with your subscribers on a regular basis. Well, this episode is for my blogging friends who've already got their email game together. I wanted to offer you maybe some advanced techniques that you can implement. And I got these ideas by examining what is working really well in the e-commerce world. There's not a lot of studies, original studies, or statistical data about how to improve on or do a better job with pop-ups or newsletters or that sort of thing in the blogging space. But there is a lot of studies about how to be successful in this area in the world of e-commerce. And so what I like to do is dig into those studies regularly. I eat them up, and I like to figure out creative and unique ways to steal those ideas or those hacks or best practices or operating procedures from the e-commerce community and figure out how to apply them to the world of blogging. Now, if you have a product, if you're selling a product on your site, then you can absolutely use these hacks in that capacity too, because you've got e-commerce. I do have a few products on the site. They're $1 printables, and we're moving in a different direction. I am creating a series of products right now. I actually just got it back from the graphic designer today. And Megan Jervis, you're amazing. I love your work, and I'm really excited about the new product that we'll be putting out. And as we roll it out, I'll be sharing some of that information with you so that you can learn from what we do right and what we do wrong. But the hacks that I'm going to be covering with you today would be available to you even if you don't have a product on your site or even if you don't want to implement it from an e-commerce perspective. So here they are, 5 email marketing hacks that bloggers can steal from things that work really well in the e-commerce world. And this is what I'm going to call the pop-up edition. What I'm going to talk to you about today are hacks that involve the pop-up that you can implement on your screen, on the page as somebody's reading the information. Now, there are 1,002 email marketing systems. I call them EMS systems, options out there. Everybody's using something different. Constant Contact, Aweber, MailChimp, Infusionsoft. There's a million of them. My product of choice is Drip. You can find it at getdrip.com. If you are ever interested in doing a trial with them, please reach out to me. I am an agency partner. And if you are interested in using my affiliate link, you can get a 30-day trial instead of a 14-day trial. So the hacks that we are going to go over today are definitely possible with Drip. And some of these these all might be possible with your tool or only a handful of them with your tool because, again, everybody's tool is different. But if you want to implement all of these and your current tool does not allow for that, please check out getdrip.com. I've been using Drip, 6 years now, maybe more. I love them. They are an e-commerce EMS system, but they work exceptionally well for bloggers also. So with that, let's jump into these hacks. My first hack is remarketing. Now, if you've been listening to me for a while or listening to the podcast for a while, you've heard me talk about remarketing or browse abandonment. I preach it all the time because it is a 5-figure a year branding solution for us. And it is invaluable to the customers that we work with who implement it. You don't have to use it just from a brand as you work with brands. You can use it for your own content as well. Let me break it down for you. Somebody comes to your site and they sign up for your lead magnet. You send them their lead magnet. You capture their email address. At this point, you've got a record of them in your system, and you've got what's called a first-party cookie. First-party cookies are not going away with the Google madness that's supposed to happen this year, but didn't. Supposed to be coming out next year. So when cookies go away, these first-party cookies will not. These are not third-party cookies that are going away. These are first-party cookies. And what that means is you've got a connection between the pages that somebody's looked at on your site and their email address. So when anybody who's signed up for our newsletter by way of our lead magnet using our pop-up, I can now track what pages they look at on my site. So when somebody comes to us and they look at 2, 3, 4 Florida posts, I can surmise that they are interested in visiting Florida. And I can respond with an email that says, hey, we noticed you were checking out our Florida content. Here's the best places we recommend if you're thinking about heading that direction for a vacation. Or here's our favorite affiliate partners if you're heading to Destin. Or here's our favorite accommodations if you're heading to Miami. Always responding to the customer or to the reader based on what they were looking at. Clothing companies have been doing this forever, right? And it's usually more like cart abandonment. So you put a couple things in your cart and then you go away, and a couple hours later you get an email that says you left these shoes in your cart and you didn't finish. Like, aren't you interested? These are super cute, or here's a coupon, or that sort of thing. This is the same concept, except it's a little bit higher up in the funnel. So you're going to capture more people. But it doesn't have to be something they bought or something they put in their cart. It could just be something, again, because you're a blogger, not necessarily an e-commerce company. It could just be evaluating what they were looking at. So I can assume that if somebody comes to my site through search by way of the date nights in Atlanta query, that they're interested in a date night in Atlanta, and I can immediately respond appropriately. So instead of the next email from me being about where to go kayaking by yourself, it could be where to have the coolest places to have a date in Atlanta. So that is really, really powerful. It's powerful for brands if you want to partner with brands to get them into that email that you're remarketing with. It's also a powerful way to get your high RPM content in front of people, to keep them engaged with you, to promote your affiliates. And that's, again, a reason why I really, really promote having multiple lead magnets, really understanding the personas of the types of people that are coming to you, because it's a great way to break down your remarketing. 2 things I'm going to say about this, and then we'll move on to the next one. Number 1, do not expect that you're going to have a ton of people getting those remarketing emails. I would say, I'm trying to do the math in my head here, I think about 20% of our entire list gets a remarketing email every year. The value in them, though, this is the second part, so don't expect a huge volume. The value, though, is that these people are not just warm, coming in from search, that's a warm person. These people are hot. These are hot leads, and that's why they're so valuable to the brands that you work with. And so valuable to you, because these people are actively looking. So rather than pushing something out to them in a newsletter or pushing something out to them in social media, hoping that they're going to be interested and have enough attention at that, exact moment to see that brand or see that article, you're talking to them in the moment. You're striking while the iron is hot. And that's what makes them so, so valuable. Okay, that's remarketing. Number 2, another popular hack that we see in regard to pop-ups in the e-commerce world is if you go to a page, if you're shopping, let's say you're shopping at Crate and Barrel and you're really interested in some candlesticks. You go to the candlesticks and there's particular candlesticks are sold out. What you'll often see is a pop-up that comes up that tells you similar products that this company, in this case Crate and Barrel, offers, so that you can go and look at those. So they know that you're interested in candlesticks at that moment. So they're going to show you other candlesticks because they know those are sold out. Well, we don't have sold out things on our blog. All of our content is always available, which is great. But what happens sometimes is that we get traffic driving to one page when we really want it to go to another page. Or we want people to understand that there's more information out there. So for example, you might get a lot of traffic to a support page in one of your topic clusters, but the pillar post maybe is harder for you to rank on, so it's not ranking as high right now. Or it might just be a new post, so maybe it's not even ranking yet, but you want people to go to that other post. You want people to know that post is there, and you want to begin to drive recognition to that other post. So imagine if somebody comes and lands on, I'm going to come up with an example here. They land on this Graco car seat review that you've got, and what you can do, maybe after 8 seconds, maybe as an exit intention, you can have a pop-up that comes up and says, do you know that we've done a review and comparison of 10 different car seats? And you can see that here. So this isn't a kind of pop-up where somebody would enter their information into the pop-up like a lead magnet would be. This is just a button. So people can either close the browser window, they can close the pop-up because they are not interested in that, but they want to keep reading the page, or they can click the button in the pop-up and that would take them over to the full comparison page. So that's an example of where the specific car seat's getting a lot of traffic and you want to drive people to the comparison page. The pillar post of that topic cluster. So that pop-up button can do that. The third type of pop-up is the same sort of concept where the pop-up is not a place where people enter information. It just has a button that drives people to a different page. And this example is when you're an e-commerce store and you have people who are coming to check your site out and you recognize that these are returning customers. So these are people whose email address you already have. You don't want to present the lead magnet to them because you've already got their email address, but you want to do something that, number one, allows you to say, hey, I know who you are, welcome back. And number two, that encourages them to take some sort of action. And oftentimes for an e-commerce store, it's new products. So, hey, welcome back. Here's some new products that we've got on in the store right now. And you can take that example and apply it right away, right? Our products, our inventory is the actual post that we write. So imagine if you've got a list of, let's say 30,000 people, on your email list, and anytime any of those people come back to your site, you know that they're there. You know that these are people whose email address you already have. So instead of offering the lead magnet, you don't need their email address, offer a pop-up that says, hey, here's our newest post that we've been working on. Now, there are settings that allow you to make sure that people are only getting that new products or new post pop up once or maybe twice. You can configure that. So you're not getting in their space. You're just kind of doing, hey, we just wanted to let you know, we just got, this new post is up. It's probably something that you're going to enjoy. And what you can do is add that to your calendar to update every week. So for me, on Mondays, I write our newsletter that goes out to our readers on Tuesdays. So if we were to implement something like this, then as part of writing the newsletter for Monday, I would add to my routine to update what that new product or new post is. Okay, next one. You want to share USPs with new customers. A USP is a unique selling proposition. With a brick and mortar business or with a digital e-commerce business, that's usually something like, we have superior customer service, or we have a 14-day money-back guarantee. These are things that you're really saying, this is where we're offering this to you in kind of a unique way. The most famous one that we all know about is get your pizza in 30 minutes or it's free. That's a great unique selling proposition. Now, it might not be as important that you present your unique selling proposition to the people that are coming to your site, but you know what you can do is present your client's unique selling proposition, the brands that you work with. So imagine that you're working with a brand and they want you to share them in their newsletter and post about them on social media. Maybe they want you to write an article about them, and you really want to get eyes on that article right away. Then you can present, when somebody comes to your site, new or not, somebody comes to your site, you say, have you heard about this XYZ brand? And then you very succinctly share that unique selling proposition, that amazing thing about that brand, that thing that's going to entice people to want to know a little bit more information, and offer them a button that clicks them right out to that article. Now, in theory, you can offer a button that clicks them out to that brand's website. I would not recommend doing that. There's not enough money in the world to send somebody from your site to another site before they've had a chance to hunt and peck around for what they're looking for. But maybe you've got a post about that brand, or maybe you're doing a giveaway with that brand and you want to direct people to the giveaway page. Or you have a web story about that brand and you want to direct people to the web story, then you can do that with this sort of USP pop-up. And then the final thing I'll share is something that I haven't seen a lot of email marketing systems offer. Drip does offer this, but they've only begun offering it, a couple of months. This year, I think, is when they started. And that's a multi-step pop-up. A multi-step pop-up, in my opinion, is brilliant. And here's why. It allows you to deliver whatever piece of valuable information you need to deliver and grab the visitor's name and email address, and then still keep that person engaged. So here's what I mean. Let's say that we want to understand a little bit more about the person who's come to our site. We want to capture their email address, maybe their name. I'll tell you why that's important in a second. And then maybe we want to better understand where they are in the buying process. If I'm in the travel space, then I might ask them, are they in the middle of planning a trip? Or if I'm in the hyperlocal space, I might ask them if are they visiting our site because they're coming to visit Atlanta or because they live here. Those types of things are important when it comes to what kind of further email information I'm going to send them. But I don't want to ask that all at once, because if my pop-up has a place to ask for their email address and their name and the one or two questions that would help me to understand them better, they're going to see that and they're going to go, nope, that's too much for me, and they're going to cancel out. But if they click to get the lead magnet and the only thing that I'm asking of them is their email address or their email address and their name, then that feels less threatening, and they give that to me. I get their lead magnet right out immediately. But then what happens is, instead of that pop-up going away, a second pop-up comes up and it says, hey, are you a local to Atlanta, or are you just coming to visit? And here's the amazing thing. 78% of people who fill out the first form, the email address and the name, will fill out the question on the second form. Because number one, it doesn't feel as intrusive because it wasn't required in order to get the freebie. So they don't feel like you're gatekeeping as much. But number two, when they give you their email address, they've already invested in you. And if they turn away at that point, then they have to admit that their investment was in vain, was maybe not a good decision. I know that's psychological. I know it doesn't sound awesome and cool. Maybe gives you the heebie-jeebies, but it's true. So those two things combined, one, we didn't gatekeep. Two, they're already committed, means that 78% of people are going to give you that second piece of information. Is that not amazing? I mean, that blows my mind. So the way I've seen this in the e-commerce space is with a furniture store, that you fill out the name and email address in order to get a code, a discount code, like for your first thing you purchase is 15% off or something like that. And then the second piece, the second pop-up, part of the pop-up that comes up is, well, what kind of furniture are you interested in? Is it living room, dining room, bedroom, whatever? And then they pick one of those things, and then that information gets stored in your email system, so you can apply a persona to that, or you can send a special offer or special affiliate links or whatever's appropriate for your niche. And then a third window then came up. And so if I picked bedroom, for example, then the third window would say, here are 3 of our newest bedroom suits, or I think I picked dining room and said some chairs came up. So imagine if somebody, I'm thinking about the hyperlocal site, somebody wants my lead magnet. The first screen, they give their name and email address. The second screen, they say that they are really interested in outdoor adventures. And then I capture that. And then the third screen says, here's our 3 most popular posts on outdoor adventures. And then they can pick one of those, click a button, and go out to it. So you're encouraging that second page, that second reading, when they might have been ready to leave, or they might not have even known that you had that additional information. So you're tying them to you. You're learning more about them. You've captured the email address, and you've made them happy because you sent them a lead magnet. Win, 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 right? The multi-step pop-up is so powerful. And if you're thinking about doing any of these things, I think the multi-step pop-up is probably, and remarketing are the 2 most valuable things to invest in. The multi-step pop-up, though, is a 30-minute, maybe 60-minute process you can do in one day. The remarketing takes a little more strategy. I think it took me a couple weeks to put the whole thing in place, but the multi-step pop-up is something you could do just right away. So let me review those for you. The first one's remarketing. That is, someone comes to your site. If they've already been there, you've got a first-party cookie. You're looking at what they looked at, and you're responding with an email that gives them more information, either more posts from you, affiliates from you, partner information where people have paid to be in that email. The second thing is the similar product pop-up that most e-commerce stores will do on a sold out, but you're going to say, oh, I noticed that you're looking at this particular car seat review. Did you know we have a post that compares all the different car seats in 2023? And a little button takes them over to that. The third one is the new products for returning customers. So once you've already captured their email address with the lead magnet, you're no longer presenting the lead magnet, but you're presenting a pop-up that says, here's our newest post. It's all about ABC. Do you want to take a look? So regardless of how they got to you, the pop-up comes up and gives them that option. The third one is, instead of sharing a USP about you, you share a unique selling proposition about one of your brand partners. So that means that the brand is actually paying you for that pop-up on your site, and then the button there is directing that reader to the post about that brand or a giveaway about that brand. And the final one is the multi-step pop-up. Oh, here's what I neglected to tell you. Why email address and name? There's a study that came out. This is through Drip, but they it was a fantastic study, and I've got a lot of information about the research that came out of that. I did a podcast episode on it right when it came out, so I'll try to link to that in the show notes below if you're a statistician nut like I am. But right away, what I noticed was that there was a significant, and I don't know the number off the top of my head, but I want to say almost twice as many people opted in to a pop-up that asked for the name and email address instead of just the email address. Now, that doesn't make sense to me, but that is why we have statistics, right, folks? That's why we capture data and learn what works and what doesn't work based on actual events instead of what feels right to us. And that's what they found after examining 1 billion pop-ups. Drip did original research on 1 billion pop-ups, and that's what they found. So that's why I suggest your name and email address. And I'll be honest, I haven't done it on all the pop-ups on my site yet, just because I'm just like, really? But I really do need to go and implement it across the board instead of just on a few that I have up. But the multi-step pop-up is pretty amazing. And that 78% return on that second page blows my mind. Makes perfect sense, but it's not something we think about because we always assume that you have to capture all that information right away. So I just love the fact that you can just get the email address, send the lead magnet so that if they close it and they're gone, you've still got the email address, but you've got so much more potential in the pop-ups after that. So that's it, folks. Now, if you don't have email set up in your system, then this might have gone over your head. This might have seemed overwhelming. You might be thinking, gosh, I'm never going to get there. This is just a preview of what's possible once you begin to see the power of email marketing. If you do have email marketing up, if you are sending a regular newsletter, if you are feeling comfortable with your email marketing system, but you're kind of like, what else do I do? How else do I get more out of this? What other things can I work with brands on besides I'm going to create a post for you and post it on Instagram? Then these ideas hopefully will work for your business, for your niche, and how you work with brands. Even if just one of them is an extra gold nugget for you, go and research it. Go and set up some samples. Just if one of these calls to you and it's one that you want to offer to a brand in the future, my recommendation is always to set it up first, either for a company that you're already working with, that you love and adore and that you want to continue to work with. Set it up for free for them. Tell them you're doing it. Tell them it's going to be free for 6 months or 12 months or 3 months, whatever you think is right. That way you're getting a case study. If you're not working with a brand right now, you want to in the future, then set it up for one of your affiliates and make sure you're measuring what's the opt-in rate on this, what's the conversion rate on this, because those are things that brands are going to ask you about when you sell something like these things that we've talked about, and you need to have a case study. It doesn't have to be a paying customer case study. It could be a customer that you did for free, or it could be your own affiliates or your own blog posts. That's still just as valuable as a case study. So even if you've never worked with a brand before, ever, don't make that be the reason why you aren't looking at case studies and capturing numbers and measuring your success. You will never be able to move forward if you don't know where you are now. You'll never know if the tweaks that you're making are helping you, benefiting you, or hurting you. So again, measure. But regardless of where you are in your email journey, I hope you'll at least consider these. Maybe these inspire you to jump back into your list. Last thing I'll say before I let you guys go, if you used to do email marketing and then you stopped and you don't know how to get your list going, please check last week's podcast. I gave you a 3-part email series that you can use to jumpstart your list again, to breathe new life into your list again. And then you can take a look at some of these tools as you re-engage that list. Okay, I hope this was helpful to you, especially the people in the audience who I know have been working so diligently on their email and they're looking for that next thing, that something special. I hope this served you.